You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me. The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid.
Ronnie.
Yeah, what?
What the fuck happened to your knee?
This is it. Very much healed. That too.
Okay.
It was a pickleball accident.
Fuck.
Oh, Dad, look, see how much...
Wait a minute.
See how much
That's
pink
going to
there
scar.
was? It was this whole thing.
All right. First of all,
This was all cut out of my knee.
I love you, but stay off athletics.
So what it was, I was playing pickleball with my girlfriend, and...
You overran it?
Well, I couldn't let her win. So, like, every ball, I was, like, going for every ball. Cause, like,
She beat the shit out of you.
No, I won every single match.
You got to let your girlfriend win.
But-
Bronny, you fucked up your knees.
Yeah. Oh, no, Dad, you have no... So, let me...
Oh, I'm aggravated, Bronny.
So we were... It's actually kind of a funny story. So we're playing...
Is it really? What if you fucking broke your face?
Well, so I was smart. Just let me tell the story. So we were playing at this place called Reserve, which is not a shout out, but it's if you're in Miami, it's like a nice place. You know where Jungle Island is?
And I apologize, everybody. I sound very nasal and Jewishy because I have a cold.
It's because it's Rosh Hashanah. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. No, but
That's
seriously,
the Jewish New Year.
I have a cold.
Yeah, but that's fine. It's no big deal.
Hello. Bronny, you fucked up. Those are 100% scarring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
I had a chunk taken.
Did Mom see it?
No, I don't think. If you feel this,
No.
you can feel there's a chunk. It's
Yeah,
concave.
I've never seen. Okay, I'm very unhappy. I'm calling your girlfriend right now.
So what happened was we were playing at this place, and it's like a high-end pickleball court. It's like a club, and so they have like a sauna, and it's like all branded, and it's all like influencer vibes.
So aggravated.
So we were like, you know what? Let's go there. Why not? It's $100 to rent the court for the hour. We were like, fuck it. It's on the water, literally right on the water.
So you got a $50 square per knee.
So I was like, fuck it. Let's just do it. Why not? We can always go to a cheap one after, but whatever. So we show up, and we had the best court right on the water. I was like, oh, this is sick. Like, this is worth $100, whatever. We're like 4 minutes in to playing. And so it's netting on the sides, but then behind is glass panels, like plexiglass, large plexiglass. So she hits a ball, and it goes in, but right at the back line, like back marker. So I should have just let it go, but I was like, fuck it. I'm not letting her get this point. So I go for it, and it was because we were right on the water, there was a lot of sand mixed in with the grass because it was blown up from the beach.
Mm-hmm.
So there was just no traction on this grass because it was full of sand.
It's grass pickleball?
Yeah, it was grass.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
And the ball bounced on grass?
Yeah, it does. It's like you can play tennis on a grass court.
I know that,
it's
but
just different.
Yeah, but the balls are much harder and bounce much different.
I can't get this fucking mic. So I was like, I'm diving for this thing, and because of this sand, I had no traction. So I'm like
What
diving.
shoes are you wearing?
The ones I wore to Japan. They're like New Balance workout shoes.
Okay.
And I could feel, when you're like in the middle of tripping and you're like, oh fuck, I'm tripping, and you're like a cartoon character,
You should do a roll.
So I was in my mind, I'm like, fuck, I'm tripping now. I can't stop myself, and I'm about to hit this plexiglass. So I was
That's why they have plexiglass behind.
Yeah, so it's for pickleball and racquetball. They're dual purpose
Understood.
courts.
That's what it's okay.
So I'm like, I'm going into this glass, and it was like face first. So instead, I put my shoulder into it and fall because I was like, it's better if my shoulder hits the glass than my nose.
And so
I ended up falling right on my knees, but skidding, and because it was on sand, the sand made it all like abrasive. So
did you clean it out?
Yeah, so the all where it was pink was cut. Now it's getting better. The scabs getting lower or smaller and smaller. But then I'm playing this, and it hurt. My knees were there were bulges on my knees.
You still played. I wouldn't have played.
So we're like 4 minutes into this thing, and they're stinging like a motherfucker, but they're not hurting. They're just like, when you get like a scrape and it's stinging?
Yeah, road rash.
So I was like, they sting. I cleaned them out. They gave us Band-Aids, and I was like, I paid $100 for this court. Like, we're playing. We have 48 minutes left. We're playing. So I played for the rest of the thing, and blood was seeping down my legs.
Why would you do that? Why would she even let you play?
Because I was like, I want to play. She was like, don't. So at first I sat down, and she was like, don't get up. And she went and got me Band-Aid. And then I started walking. She was like, sit down, don't walk. And I was like, why? And she's like, She's like, don't show them that you can walk. Sit down. I was like, no, I'm not trying to like scam this place. It's fine. I can walk. It's not a big deal.
Oh, you did some damage.
Yeah.
No, that's damage.
It was 2.5 weeks ago.
All right, we need to talk for a moment. Number one is, why didn't you tell me?
What do you mean tell you? Oh, Dad, I scraped my knee today.
Yeah.
Like that's
and
a kid.
And
shit
number,
to
you
do.
are my kid. And number two is, you know you have to put sunblock on those. Otherwise, those pink will never heal in the sun.
It's gonna be fine.
No, but they'll scar. I'm telling you.
So all of that pink used to be the scab, and now it's just little.
Bronny, that's fucking deep.
Dad, a gauge was. You can see you can see it's concave.
No, that
chunk of my skin was cut off. Sorry.
That's the thickest fucking scab I've ever seen in my life.
You want to feel it? It's so weird feeling. It's like a dinosaur scale.
I'm not happy.
Yeah.
I'm not happy. Who we calling?
Reserve battle.
No, I'm not happy.
Sorry. I mean,
Bronny, you can't do athletic stuff.
I won every game.
It's your girlfriend. All right, stop.
I mean, it was fun. Pickleball was super fun. And I still played, and blood would run down my legs.
Bronny, I'm not happy.
Right before it got to my sneakers, I would wipe it off.
Bronny, I'm not fucking happy.
It's fine. What do you want me to do?
I'm gone 2 weeks, and this is what happens. I can't leave you alone.
I scraped my knee up a little bit.
No, you fucked that up. That's going to scar in concave, 100%. I felt it. It went in.
Yeah,
it goes in, right? I was walking on the moon.
Yeah, no, literally, that's a crater. When I scraped it, it was red, and then there was white underneath because I
that's the fat shit.
Yeah,
all right, fuck that.
Skin.
Bronny, you're punished. You're going to go to your room.
But imagine if I didn't think I need to put my shoulder into this, I would have broken my nose.
You're an idiot.
I would have full on broken my nose.
I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about it.
But I played it out. I couldn't waste the $100 of a reservation.
So how you been?
Good. We haven't sat here in like 3 weeks.
No. How'd your pod go with your brother? Was that a Patreon?
Yeah, Bryce and I recorded a Patreon that came out last week. So you guys can go listen to that on patreon.com/daddyissuespod. It was really interesting. So we sat down and just started talking, and then we 3 minutes in got on a topic that took us an hour and 15 minutes.
What was the topic?
The episode was an hour and 20 minutes long, and we were talking about music, like the state of the music. We had no idea where it was going. We were disagreeing on like, is the music industry on a decline? Is music as an art form getting better or worse? It's become corporatized. Is that making it better or worse? Or like, is there any more innovation? Just like all that kind of stuff. It was really interesting. We were like doing deep dives into like music history and what are music genres and like how did rap come about and why is that different than rock and why is rap still persisted in modern day society where rock hasn't? There's not really any rock music to be made anymore.
There's a classic rock. There's no real rock.
Well, no, there's no rock. There's no
bands.
There are rock bands that exist, but they only are ones that existed in the 90s earlier, right? Like 3 Doors Down is performing down the street, 3 doors down the street. They're from the 90s. Nope, wrong one.
I knew it too. It was like when you were falling, you knew you're falling. But I was committed.
But there's there are new rock bands, but they're not popular because there's no market for rock music. Because
classic rock's still the best.
Well, that definitely is a huge reason. Is that most of the top Spotify streaming artists are from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They're not new modern music. But my argument was it's because rock is by white people for white people, especially men, and so that there's no market for that anymore in music industry. It's not marketable. They don't want to sell music to white men. But then country is white people.
Country's
doing
bigger
well. Than ever.
Yep,
literally bigger.
Doing well.
So we talked about all this stuff. It was actually really interesting.
Cool.
It was like a different kind of episode.
That's nice.
Yeah,
I love when my boys do that stuff.
Usually Bryce and I just talk about funny shit, but this was like
I miss my Bryce. I haven't seen him in 2.5 weeks. I just bit my lip.
Nice. So yeah, go listen to that if you want. Patreon.com/daddyissuespod.
Cool.
Yeah. You just got back.
I just got back. We did a pop. What are you finishing every sentence?
Yeah. Oh, you should have let me finish that one.
So we did a pod when I was on. Where was I? In Ireland. Whatever.
Probably you were on a cruise.
Got back last night. You know when you're ready to get back, you're ready to get back. 100%.
Oh, I mean that's what the beauty. Like that's what vacation is for, right? It's vacation, so it's like meant to be a break to your normal life, and then hopefully, if you did vacation right, by the time it's over, you're ready to get back to your life.
We vacation. We have it down on science.
But like if you're vacationing for 3 months, that's not really a vacation anymore. No. But if your vacation is too short and by the time when you get home, you're like, oh, I still don't want to go back to work. I don't want to, I'm not ready to get back into my life. Then you didn't do it right.
We did it right. We had a good time.
But I'm saying, yeah,
right.
Vacation is great until it's not.
Right. glad to be home. Missed my family, missed my house, missed my routine. We were gone for like 15 days, so it's enough. And then got home last night. You know, we were up almost 24 hours because of the time change.
But you said it like 7 times today. Okay.
Said it one time in the pod.
On the pod, yeah. Oh, I said today, not on the pod.
And Bubby asked, so I told her. Just a big deal, okay. Hey, you need your fucking beauty sleep. You're half my age. I don't want to hear
I don't need
that.
my beauty sleep.
Oh, my God. You need a lot of sleep.
No, I need food.
You need a lot of sleep. So it was a great trip. Getting organized, getting back in my routine. Got a lot of shit done, which is great. Love being home until our next trip in a couple of weeks. And it was really nice. We really had a good time, Mom and our friends, and relaxing.
Yeah.
I'm glad we went.
Vacations are great. And when you come back, then you feel refreshed. Like when I came back from Japan, I was definitely ready to be back. And then I remember you and Mom and everyone were like, oh, like we want to go, like start planning a trip for all of us. And I was like, oh, fuck, I don't want to go back. I was like, you know,
in 2 years.
But now that it's like 3 months
You're
out,
ready to go
I'm
back.
like, I really want to go back. I'm like, oh, fuck, that sounds
Yeah,
so good.
I want to do
But
a
it's-
trip with
It's just
your
like as
itinerary.
as you get away from a vacation. But yeah, that's
So what's this thing I heard about? Dove hires let me see if you can look it up. Give me 1 minute. Let me see what I got.
wow. Dad coming up with topics.
Well, got to do something. There's a new sheriff in town. Let's see what he has here.
Also, I'm gonna ask the audience or the listeners. Dad's wearing a shirt that just says "I'm not for everyone," and when I saw it, I said, "That's mad cringe." Like it's okay. Wear what
I
you
don't
want to
give a
wear.
fuck.
But you said, "What are you talking about?
It's not cringe.
And I just want to have the
And I ran into a girl, a woman, younger. She's in her 30s. Probably
at breakfast today.
today.
Who was also wearing
where
a
it said-
shirt that said "I'm not for everyone."
Right, in a
But
V-neck.
That's
in-
kind of ironic, is that you guys, by saying "I'm not for everyone," found community in that. There's an irony in there.
But come on, that's great.
yeah, he
what
showed
is-
me the picture of the two of them.
What is the irony of that?
Because your shirt is
I
saying-
understand. That's right.
Like it's kind of funny. Your shirt is saying, I'm like an individual. And then you found literally 30 minutes after putting the shirt on for the first time, you found someone who also was proclaiming they're an individual, you know? Kind of funny.
I get it. It's ironic.
Yeah.
So Dove Soap hires morbidly obese BLM hoaxer Ziana
Okay,
Bryant.
wait. What article are you reading? They said BLM hoaxer? What is this
I don't
article?
know. Look at National Conservative on
okay.
X.
Yeah, okay.
Look
Okay, just
up-
tell me what.
I don't know. Look it up. Here, look it up on your computer.
Okay.
Look it up. Just trying to, get in the mix, bitch.
Dove. Obese.
Dove hires obese
Dove BLM. I'll
BLM.
just do Dove BLM. Okay.
You see it?
Yeah.
Let's see. What does it say? Educate me.
These things are so boring, don't you think? I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk about it, but aren't you so like sick of?
Of course.
Like it's so boring.
I'm just trying to
now.
come up with a
no,
topic for you.
I know, and that's not. I'm just saying in general, like even like the backlash, the Bud Light backlash against Dylan Mulvaney. It's like this shit is boring.
Boring.
It's so like not.
All right, let's
anything.
move on.
No. Well, we can talk about it. I
I
wasn't
don't know
saying
anything
you're
about
bringing
it.
up boring stuff.
I wasn't taking it that way.
Yeah. Beauty giant Dove is facing a Bud Light. Oh, here you go. Bud Light style boycott for partnering with Black Lives Matter activist Ziana Bryant, who was previously accused of getting a white student expelled over misheard comments. Once loyal customers even so this is what she looks like.
Does she have a chin?
No, she has 4.
Look at her. Why would Dove do this? Now I'm a little bit upset because I
Here, we can
use Dove
watch
Bar. I love Dove Bar.
My belief is that we should be centering the voices and experiences of the most marginalized people and communities at all times. So when I think about what fat liberation looks like to me, it looks like centering the voices and
Fat
the
liberation.
experiences of those
Pause.
who live in and who
Okay, there's a terminology now. Fat liberation.
But why were fat people enslaved?
Wait,
because liberation means that you were previously
First of all,
locked
if you're
up.
fat, morbidly obese like that, you're liberated because you're oozing. You can't stop that. You're gonna ooze in someone
you're
else's
liberating
seat.
it to my space.
You are. If you're on a seat in a plane, it's coming over. You need it on a fucking Disney World ride. You need a double extended belt. That's a problem. And right, why is it liberated? And here's the thing again.
Were they enslaved in American society?
You want to be fat, knock yourself out, but it's. I'm telling you, look at her. She can't. She doesn't have her lips injected. Just fat.
She's quite large, and Dove is a not
beauty
just
bar.
yeah.
That's why my
Dove is
skin
like
looks so
a
nice.
beauty company
That's why my skin looks so good. I use
and a
Dove bar.
chocolate company. Weirdly, or is that the same Dove?
Is it the same Dove?
It's the same logo and font.
Same logo. You're right. We have to go back to this, but that's
Dove
a good point.
chocolate. Is it the same logo?
The D looks
I
similar.
imagine Dove chocolate's owned by like Nestle. Let's see, Dove chocolate brand. Oh, it's American. It's owned by Mars.
Okay. All right.
The name comes from Dove Candies, which was a Chicago-based candy and ice cream shop
By the way,
in the
Dove
1930s.
bar
So
is
they
good.
have nothing to do with each other.
Is that Dove bar not good?
You mean a Dove chocolate bar? Or
Yeah. No, I'm talking the vanilla
ice
ice cream
cream
with
with
the
the-
chocolate around.
It is good.
It's low key, and so is a Magnum.
Magnum's great.
Yes.
Magnum's
Magnum's
great. And
good.
now Dove Beauty. They're very similar logos.
So go
Dove
back.
Beauty is owned by Unilever. Okay.
All right, go back to this. I want to see this.
The hell is this? Mazda? Why am I not? Oh, it was an ad.
Oy.
Yeah.
Let's hear what she has to say.
Featuring the voices and experiences of the most marginalized people and communities at all times. So when I think about what fat liberation looks like to me, it looks like centering the voices and the experiences of those who live in and who maneuver through spaces and institutions in a fat body. It looks like making
Pause.
accessible spaces and having
Hold on.
conversations that are aware of the fact that people have different bodies and that they are interacting with space and people and
They have
institutions
to interact
and
with space. They
communities.
can't get around.
Imagine saying like, I interact with space differently.
Okay,
from
she's
you.
saying the same thing 12 times over, just so you know.
Well, she's saying I'm fat. That's just
Listen,
what she's
no,
saying.
but when you are obese, you have to maneuver and interact with space.
Well, we all do. They just have more space to maneuver through.
No, they have a hard time.
Yeah, or they have less space to maneuver through
Right.
because they take up
Right.
more
So
space.
go ahead. I want to hear the rest of this shit.
In a different way. Fat liberation looks like fully embracing those differences and having those conversations instead of shying away from them. To learn more about fat liberation and the campaign for size freedom that Dove
Size
is
freedom.
Campaign for
Yeah,
size
could you
freedom.
imagine? What the fuck? Brody, what's going on with this world? Seriously. You know this comical? Listen, be
it's-
fat. You want to fucking be fat. But you have fat liberation and campaign for what was it?
The campaign for size freedom.
Could you
That's
imagine?
what she said. Size freedom.
Could you imagine?
Well, who is locking down size?
No, but what about a campaign for no
Health.
diabetes, health on your organs and your muscles,
Nice, a healthy diet.
eating healthy,
Real foods,
living
not
a
chips.
longer life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Recording, visit dove.com /
Dove paid her. Could you imagine?
Well, so here's the thing.
Do I ban my Dove bars because I love?
Well, that's
Dove.
why I wanted to look at who Dove Beauty is owned by, because if you look, and so they're owned by Unilever, right? I'll look up the other companies that Unilever owns. If you look up, so you see on like Vogue and like Cosmopolitan, all these beauty publications over the last couple of years, and we've talked about this. They say like fat is beautiful, size doesn't matter, and they'll have like a fat woman on the
These
cover.
are the same companies that own Wise potato chips and all that. And all
That's-
the,
that's what I was
so
getting
it's
at.
all about money.
That's exactly what I was getting at.
So wait,
Dove-
before you go into that for a second, so there's no question. So I watched on TV on the cruise some stuff, and they were showing, it was a British show, but it was like sort of like How That's Made or one of those kind of shows.
Okay.
And they were showing the food industry how every one of these food manufacturers have a whole scientific department. Whole department of scientists. Like
chemists.
Yes, chemists.
Fully, yeah.
You think they're solving cancer.
Oh yeah.
Okay, the amount of time and
R&D
brains
that goes
right,
into it.
R&D, research and development, correct, that goes into this thing of how they, like the nacho potato chips or the barbecue potato chips, they spend
yeah.
so much time making the correct amount of flakes, spices,
And the
because
perfect chemical level, so that when it touches your
you
tongue,
want more.
your brain is
You
triggered
want
to be like, I have to
Correct.
eat this whole bag.
It's all about money.
Yeah.
Okay, so when these people don't get it, like, so fat. By the way, and I said this many times, and you've heard this if you know my podcast. Okay, fat's not beautiful. It's not. It's not beautiful.
to some people, it might be.
No. Okay,
Beautiful
No,
is that, let's say
that's
fat's
a
not
fetish.
good for you.
No, if you like obesity, it's a fetish. If
Right.
you're a person like
it's not naturally.
Okay,
It's
but
not naturally
fat's not beautiful.
attractive.
Okay, there's a reason why. If we go back to, if I'm going to sound like Bronson for a moment, the reason why when pregnant women get heavy is because it's less attractive. So the male don't want to, in the jungle, right? If you're pregnant, they're not going to impregnate you.
The idea is correct. Yeah, fat women don't get big because it's not attractive to people. They get big because something's growing inside of them.
Correct.
But as male brains,
Aware of that.
right, we don't find. We evolved to not find pregnant women attractive.
I'm not saying they're unattractive. That's not what I'm saying. But a hot chick is different than you look good for being pregnant, but I don't find you like it's not a major turn on.
And the only reason why you find people attractive at the core level, foundational level, is
visual.
To impregnate them. Are they fertile? That's what attractiveness is.
Okay.
And so when someone's, and that's why healthy women are attractive
Stronger,
to men,
the offspring.
because health is directly correlated to fertility.
Well, look at the lion pride. The strong. There could be 8 lioness. They want the strongest male. That means
but also with the female too. Like I'm talking about from male's point of view to females, because that's what we're talking
all
about.
right, but I'm just saying. But the human being wants to attract the healthiest, strongest,
right,
for their offspring.
Yeah. Because when you're attracted to someone, however you think you're attracted to them, I'm attracted to this, I'm attracted to this. Really what it is that they're able to make a good-looking baby. That's really all you're attracted to. So a pregnant woman is incapable of making a baby.
Right. So
that's why we're not
attracted to them. Fat liberation, all this stuff. So I think that, and it's no question, Bronny, it's all about business. And again, how stupid people are. Like, she should be saying, and listen, again, I know nothing about this chick, but 100% she's not happy being fat. She's not. She's not. I don't care who she's not. Didn't you say Lizzo lost weight?
No. She got canceled for, remember?
Oh, yeah, thing. But who was that was heavy that was losing weight?
Adele was very healthy, and then she lost weight, and the fat community attacked her and said, "How dare you?
Could you imagine?
You were a spokesperson for us.
Could you imagine the selfishness?
And now you've lost the weight. How dare you?"
Could you imagine?
Yeah. And she said, "Fuck you."
Fat fucks.
She turned around and was like, "Fuck you."
Everybody, you lost weight, I lost weight. Don't you feel better losing weight? Isn't it healthier when your pants aren't tight?
I mean, it's objectively healthier. You can't, like, this whole fat...
Yeah, but you feel better as a person.
Yeah. But this whole fat... Like, it's so obvious that the fat pride or fat acceptance movement is the opposite of what it's intending to do.
Of course, it's all about money.
Co-opted.
It's all about money.
So, like, we can literally look. So this is
But there was
Dove.
more to this article about something with the university.
Yeah, so we can go to that, but I just want to...
Go ahead, yep.
I was trying to make this point. Dove is owned by... So Dove is the one that's...
hired her and promoted.
That's sponsoring this size freedom. We want you to be as fat as you want to be. And so Dove, I'm looking right here, is owned by Unilever. If we go to Unilever...
Let's see what foods they own. But all processed food, I guarantee it.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go to Unilever's Wikipedia and go to their subsidiaries. Let's see.
I bet it's all processed foods.
So here, this is it. So...
let me see, too.
Let's see.
Huge company.
I mean, so Skippy peanut butter, Bertolli pasta. Oh, this is the British version. I want the American. Ragu. Let's see.
Oh, my God.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so they own Breyer's ice cream, Ben & Jerry's ice cream, Klondike ice cream, Magnum ice cream.
Bron.
They own Hellman's mayonnaise. They own Cup and Noodle.
Bronny.
They own...
By the way, none of this natural.
No,
There's
of course
not one
not.
natural. They're not like a vegetable company.
They own Mine. Wow, interesting.
What's that?
It's very good, like mustard. I don't know why they would own that. But yeah, so it's a company that owns chemically induced
Man-made foods that are made
that
right.
makes you fat.
Every one of them.
Of course, then they're the ones sponsoring. We want you to be as fat as possible. We want, you know what? If you feel like you want to eat that Ben & Jerry's, sponsored by Unilever,
Eat it. You better eat it. Right.
Yeah, it's like so obvious.
How dumb are people, Bronny? No, how dumb are people?
Yeah, it's a problem. Wow, they own a lot.
By the way,
Oh my God.
then they deserve to fucking be fat. Seriously.
If you fall for that
you
shit.
deserve to be fucking fat. And by the way, you're not living a long life.
So then the other thing
I bet
here,
you she's single. And I mean, could you imagine?
The other thing here, it says she was a student activist at the University of Virginia and accused another student of referring to BLM protesters as good speed bumps in the summer of 2020, only later to admit she likely misheard her. She campaigned to get the white student suspended from school, and the white student's record shows she faced disciplinary actions for her comments, which she fears may hinder her ability to get into law school. That's all I was thinking.
Could you imagine?
Yeah. Could I imagine? You said that like 35 times today.
Did I really?
Oh, yeah.
Not today.
Oh, yeah. I
Really? All right, I gotta stop
Like when
that.
I was in the
All
car
right,
on the way to
all right, I gotta
breakfast, you
stop
said
it.
it like 4 times, and I thought
Why
about
is that a
saying
new
something.
thing for me? I gotta stop that.
I don't know.
I gotta stop.
In this podcast already, you said it like 4 times.
All right, we're stopping. We're stopping.
Okay.
And that would not be a speed bump. That'd be a boulder.
That would not be a bump.
No,
You know in Stranger Things in the first season where she stops the car and it flips over.
Yeah.
That's what she would do.
You ever see the things on like Instagram where they show like different kinds of truck getting hit by an 18-wheeler or whatever?
Right,
That's what that is.
Or like those pylons that stop
you're
the truck.
that you're gonna cut your car in two.
No, you're dying if
You're
you hit
dead.
that.
Yeah, worse than your scrapes in your knees.
Oh yeah.
Your whole body's going concave. How's she wipe her ass?
It's a good question. A bidet, probably.
No, so by the way,
How does she have sex though?
She doesn't have sex.
You're right. She probably doesn't.
You fuck her armpit. That's how you do it.
Or just any
A
fat
roll,
rolls.
any roll. Yeah,
You just come in the roll.
Yeah, like titty fuck. You roll fuck it.
You butter her rolls.
Right. And you know you get in there. You slap her thigh and ride the wave.
Nice.
Boy, I want to say this. I watched The Whale.
Oh,
on the
Brendan
way
Fraser.
over. Yeah. Good movie. Have you seen it?
No.
But sad. I think you should
very
see
sad.
it. Quick movie.
Yeah.
He was very good in it.
He won best actor. Best actor.
It's interesting because when I watch that, all right, you have empathy and sympathy for people because there are people that live like that.
Mm-hmm. He's a morbidly obese man.
What happened was
he
was a regular guy. He was married, had a daughter, but he really was gay. This isn't the purpose of it.
Yeah.
But a little background of it. And he fell in love with a student. The student died, and that was the trigger that made him become obese.
And his life fell off the rails. Yeah.
Beyond.
Yeah.
And you see it and you watch it, and it's sort of intriguing to watch. And it's sad, but at the same token, like no one should ever let them get to that point. And
it's a mental illness.
Yeah, that's a mental illness.
Yeah.
He was 4 times the size of her.
Yeah.
Like,
and speaking of that movie, that fat people, like that movie had backlash because fat people were like, a fat person should have played that role. That's a fat community's role.
I don't even want to.
That was the thing. We talked about it.
You're actually right because these things that were triggers for me are now like I'm fucking done. I'm annoyed. Like you heard me. I didn't want not to be rude. I didn't want like fuck that.
Right.
You're a fucking idiot.
Because it's just like
he's a fucking actor.
And it's like you guys are just lame. Like who cares? No one there's no credibility to what you're saying.
Stop. You fucking fat fuck. Worry about your weight.
Yeah.
So, but my point is, you watch it and it's so crazy that you and I are not really heavy, and we want to lose weight because our pants were getting tight. You know, like you sit down and you put a shirt on, and
you feel good.
Like I was in between. Like I was a large. I used to be an extra large. I was like 225 or 228. Then I lost a lot of weight, and then I was a large for a long time, and then I started going between like a large and extra large. You know, we sit down with the shirt button opens up a little bit, and our pants a little bit tight, and I'm like, I'm not doing it.
When the shirt's just a little tight, and you're like 6 months ago, this shirt fit me
and I'm not doing it. So what I do? Am I going to eat more chicken parm? I just fucking lay and I'm eating better.
And also, like
and
after you eat
feel
that chicken,
better.
the chicken parm tastes better when you're eating it. But after for the
You're
next
a
4
regret it.
hours,
You bitch.
you feel bad mentally and physically.
You bitch.
But then let's say you eat something a little less appetizing, whatever, right? Let's say it's just the chicken breast, no parm, right? Just chicken breast. Not as fun while you're eating it, but then the rest of the night, you feel good.
Your stomach
You're
feels better.
happy
Your
mentally.
poops are better.
Yeah. It's
So
such a game
last
changer.
night I got home late, as we know. I did my stuff, didn't get a lot of sleep. I was up with the trainer this morning. Now, it's an obligation. It doesn't come easy. You want to look good. You want something. You have to work towards it.
Yeah.
Would have been easier for me to say, let me just cancel, not do it. I've been away.
But you feel worse.
Right. And I worked out there. The whole fat nation, it's got to stop. It's got to stop.
Well, it's clearly like you look
Maybe
at that.
it'll be like the peanut butter allergy, the peanut allergy. Maybe they'll just eventually die off once they're fat, they're obese, and just be fat.
Well, yeah,
they raise
partly.
fat kids, though. That's the problem.
But they're dying. Like fat people are dying more than skinny people. So they might slowly start to kill themselves off.
kids.
Because if they're all dying at 40 and we're all living to 90, it's like eventually we're just going to have the society. We meaning the skinny people.
I know it sounds like, you want to meet somebody. So you got to make sure the back of your neck is shaved. But your nose hairs, your ear hairs. You can't. You got to brush teeth. You need to look good, presentable. If you're heavy, really, really obese, you're gonna be meeting an obese person. You're not meeting a thin person. That's the reality. You gotta care about yourself. Take care of yourself.
But a lot of it too, I agree with you. The problem is a lot of it is almost inescapable.
Conditioning of society.
No, like the food and nutrients we have.
Just hit
Did
the
he
thing.
just move the camera?
Yeah, good.
Just make sure it's
The nutrients you're saying, when Brian's checking the thing, we're good? Okay, we're good. But yeah, people got to take care of themselves.
But the problem is, that's what I'm saying. Yes, I agree with you, but it's every single day it gets harder and harder to take care of yourself because the nutrients we have access to is all bad. It's extremely hard, like logistically and financially, to have real food that's good for you. And when I mean real, like most of the food is not real food. When you eat Oreos, it's not. There's nothing real. There's no food in there. It's stuff that they made, right? So same with Lay's
right?
potato chips. It's not real. There's not really food in there, or like McDonald's, you know. So for 90% of America, there really isn't access to good
affordability.
It's either really expensive or it's just not available. Like there's not a Whole Foods in every town in America. It's only kind of wealthy liberal towns.
But
they don't put it in Akron, Ohio. They're not putting Whole Foods.
In all fairness, instead of when your kid wants something to drink, let them have milk or water.
Even the milk is full of hormones, chemicals, antibiotics.
But it's different than saying Coke, Diet Coke, apple juice, Sunny D, you know what I'm saying, Hawaiian Punch. Those are big difference. Or when it comes time, when your kid says, I want dessert, you don't need dessert. When we were on the cruise, I didn't have dessert. I chose not to eat dessert. When he said, you want bread? I said, no. It was a choice. If they put the bread down, I would probably eat it. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's hard. It's not easy. So
but also you're on a cruise where people are serving you anything you want. Imagine if you're a 14-year-old kid living at home and only things that you eat or whatever your parents serve you, and they're working 3 jobs so they don't have time to cook a nice healthy meal.
I get it, but there's still things you can do. There's less quantity, less shit, and less sugar out there. And like I sometimes tell mom, if you don't buy it, I don't have to worry about eating it. Leave it out of the house.
Yeah, but it's just so hard to get real, clean, healthy food. Even like me, I try hard to get clean stuff, and still it's like, even you buy vegetables or you buy, let's say you're like, I'm going to make my own bread because I don't want like to, the chemicals in the other bread. It's like, yeah, but the wheat you're buying and the vegetables you're buying are still soaked in pesticides. They're full of antibiotics and they're genetically modified. So it's like even all these real foods that you're trying to eat are tainted by these huge corporations. And so, I mean, that's why they say, I think it's why I have my gluten sensitivity is because of the pesticides. So like the glyphosate, the Roundup, on the wheat, it's like that destroys our guts and it kills all the microbiome that's in your gut. It inflames your intestines.
So do you think?
And then if you grow up eating that, it's like your body is fucked.
So do you think it's my generation? Because this shit wasn't like this 40 years ago.
Right, but there weren't any of these chemicals.
Just hear me out.
70 maybe.
Okay. So when I grew up 40 years ago, whatever, when I was younger, maybe do you think your generation will live less and have more cancers because
we're seeing it already. Chronic disease is at an all-time high.
I have to think autism and all the stuff on the spectrum has to have a lot to do with this stuff.
Of course.
It has because and look, forget social media. I know things spread much quicker with social media. But when we grew up, it was unheard of. Now everybody is on the spectrum.
And everyone has autism. Everyone has allergies, like bad allergies, right? Like, why is everyone like peanut allergies? Like you said, just came up one day. That doesn't just happen. Like for all of human history, no one was allergic to peanuts, and then all of a sudden now it's like a big deal.
It must have been something they put on the peanuts.
Yeah, or it was something in like that was in the water supply that babies were born and they had. Like their immune systems attack. Because what an allergy is your immune system sees it as a foreign compound. Like, when the flu virus gets into your body, your immune system goes, oh, this is bad, attack it. And that's why you feel sick. Because your body is like attacking something that it doesn't like. So you're weakened. An allergy is the exact same thing. Like when I'm allergic to like pollen or whatever, right? Like that is the pollen is coming into my body and my immune system is being like, what the fuck is this? This is a foreign thing. Attack it. And so that's why when I don't take my allergy medication, I feel like I have a cold because my body is treating it like a cold. And so it's got to be something that just weakened all the babies'
100%.
immune systems when they were young. And so none of us develop And it probably is also too because our parents, like your generation of parents, were neat, like clean freaks. You know, you wouldn't let like babies 100 years ago were dirty all the time. They were crawling on the floor. They were putting shit in their mouth that was like dirty.
So built an immune system.
Exactly. Now it's like everything is wiped down with
Right.
You get on a plane, wipe everything
correct.
down.
So our parents, none of that.
Right.
You said literally there was no boiling bottles.
Yeah.
If
Exactly.
it dropped on the floor, my mother licked it
Yeah.
and then put it in my mouth.
But now it's like sanitize everything. Purell in your
we
hands
literally
before you touch anyone.
drank from a hose. Literally.
Yeah. And that, it probably put
Which
bad
has
shit
rust in it.
Yeah, and it probably put bad shit into your body, but that then made your body strong. It's like hard times make, it's the same
Yes.
thing with your body. Like if you put your body through
I agree with
hardship,
you. I
it
agree
makes
with
it stronger.
I agree
And so
with
it's a mixture of the food and the chemicals. It's a mixture of plastics.
Yep.
It's a mixture of,
The crews
chemical
serve water in
byproducts
the
in the
fucking
water.
aluminum bottles. They,
Yeah,
those
that's nice.
bottles, those are the best.
But even water, it's like if you don't know where your water's coming from, like it can have all, like now I've been reading a lot about fluoride in the water is bad.
Fluoride's a big problem in the water.
And but every like
Oh, the
Boca
city,
municipal water
loads
has
of fluoride.
and that's I think fluoride is.
I know, but what do
proven.
we do, Brian? I don't have to live my
Fluoride,
life.
IQ. The inverse. This is from Science Direct. The inverse association between fluoride and IQ is particularly strong in studies at high risk of bias, while no adverse. Oh well, so that's saying no. But I've read. So let's see. This is NIH. I don't know if I'm going to believe them. Effect on fluoridated water on intelligence in 12-year-old school. So apparently fluoride, from like things that I've seen, is like directly lowers children's IQs by multiple points. So you say people are stupid. People are getting more and more stupid.
Dumbing down.
But it's like we literally, kids are
It's
getting
like purposeful.
and that's put in
It's
our
like the
water.
movies 30 years ago I used to watch where the government used to take us as control over society and make people a certain way. Same fucking thing.
Yeah, and they're putting it in
Scary.
our water because it lowers your cavities. And it's like, who the fuck cares? Why is it the government's place to make my dental care better? They don't do it with my food care. Why dental care? All of a sudden are they like, we need to medicate?
I know, but what do you do?
What do you
do?
I know that.
What do you do? They're all
But that's
waters.
the problem. That's why when you said all these people are fat, it's like change it, and it's like
This water company, I forgot. Fuck, I wonder if you can find it. It said it had like no this, no that, no. It like 7 no things.
But also, you have to be careful with that too, because the reason why you drink water is to hydrate yourself with vitamins, minerals, and the H2O that's in the water, right? So like you're replenishing electrolytes, minerals that you've lost, and all that stuff. When water's too purified, it loses all that. So you're not doing anything. It's like if you drank, the distilled water that you put in there. If you drank that all day, by the end of the day, you would be like, why am I so thirsty? Because distilled water is dehydrated.
They boil everything out of it.
Yeah. So it's like you also have to be careful when water is too treated because you're not getting the healthy benefits to the water. So really, I mean, you want to know what the answer is?
I probably drink 240 ounces of Zephyr Hills a day.
Zephyr Hills is better because it's spring water. Really, the only thing you need to drink is spring water.
That's all I drink.
But there are some spring waters that are better. So like Zephyr Hills is in a plastic bottle. It's owned by Nestle. So these are all bad demerits.
So what
to
should
it.
we buy from?
The best is Mountain Valley, which is an American company. Their water comes from the Ozarks. It's a natural spring in the Ozarks, and it's been tested. So like there are all these like water blogs from people who are like crazier.
I should cancel Ready Refresh.
So Mountain Valley has their own version.
I like that sport bottle top.
So they have their own.
So after the pod, let's do this.
So Mountain Valley has their own. So because I read like people way crazier than me about all this stuff will do like all these crazy water tests.
Because I drink a lot of it. I'm happy going Mountain Valley. I just don't want Aquafina sucks and the other one.
Well, Aquafina is just treated tap water, so it has no
the
chemicals
worst taste.
in it or no minerals in it. So Mountain Valley tastes really good, and it's from America. Like that's from America too. But Mountain Valley is a small American company. Zephyr Hills is owned by Nestle, which is a horrible, evil French company.
Yep.
And so they most of their stuff is glass. They really want to sell it to you in glass. They just started doing plastic bottles. So you can buy the plastic and they deliver it to the house. I looked it up because I wanted them to deliver it to my Miami
we're
apartment.
going to do this.
And they do big jugs of it in like a cooler. so you can just
I'm not
fill up
doing
that.
I
But
get
they'll give you tubs and tubs of
All right,
glass
we'll work on
and
it.
plastic.
We'll work on that afterwards.
And so apparently from all these like people that I trust that like, you know, are into health and all that for some reason that spring, and because they barely treat it like has the highest vitamin and mineral content of the water.
All right,
so
good.
it's like good for
So you just gave a great shout out to Mountain Valley.
but to get people to be
yeah.
healthier.
All right, I'm gonna do work on that. You'll help me with that when we get off the pod.
Yeah, sure. Speaking of this, so like RFK talks all about this stuff, right? Like that's
He's a guru
biggest
on this stuff,
thing.
yeah.
And he's been talking about it for years. He's great with all this stuff. And so for years, he's been also saying that our phones, this is like a pivot, but still within the same thing, that our phones are radiating us.
I know they're a problem.
And so he's been saying this, and everyone's like, no, this is not true. And he's been like, no, they're like the radiation that's coming off of our phones is doing damage to our bodies. The French government this week banned iPhone 12 and before in their country because they found that the radiation that they were emitting was like dangerous and causing harm to human bodies.
These get approved by the government,
and like that's crazy. So he tweeted, he was like, "Oh no, I guess France is listening to my crazy conspiracy theories." And it's like you can read. Let me see what they're saying. So France iPhone.
It's truly unbelievable.
And we're living with these things in our pockets by our balls.
Nary groin, yeah.
It's so bad.
So scary.
So here, this says Apple told employees to keep quiet about the iPhone radiation. Yeah, this is from Washington Post. France bans iPhone 12 sales over radiation, and they're going to make me pay for it, so no thank you. Yeah, this is from BBC. Several European countries say they will examine concerns that the iPhone 12 is emitting too much electromagnetic radiation after France ordered Apple to stop sales. Belgium, the Netherlands, and Germany are now looking into the issue. France's regulator gave the tech giant 2 weeks to respond to its probe, while German authorities say it could lead to Europe-wide measures. Apple said it has provided proof that it was complying with radiation regulations. France's National Frequency Agency said on Tuesday that the tests for the iPhone came back higher than allowed. The halt on sales could have a snowball effect.
But no one sells the 12 anymore, so I don't get it.
Yeah. The 12's the 2 years old. People sell that.
That's still
But it's like, that means, it's like, if the 12 was radiating high, that first of all, we all had the 12. So we were being radiated for the year that we had it. And then now it's like, why would this one not be radiating? Like, it's so bad. And the problem too is like our government, it has to do with all the things we've been talking about. Like our government is so
corrupt,
owned by these.
It's
like
all money.
Apple's the biggest company in the world. Why would our government ever stop something that they're doing?
You know what I find?
They would lose so much money in support.
That's so amazing is that vaping is legal. And here's another thing.
Well, I think vaping should be.
I agree, right? But my point is how people are stupid and take it.
Well, yeah, people are stupid
That's
and take
different,
it, but
right.
let them be stupid because we know that like it's not like we're hiding it, right? It's not we're not saying vaping. The government isn't saying vaping is good for you. The vaping companies aren't saying it's good for you.
That?
They're saying this shit's bad for you, but do it.
Beyond bad.
But do it if you want.
People,
which I'm all for. I think that's bad. But the problem is like that's such a secondary thing. The problem is with food. It's like food is all we have. It's not like, oh, I'm choosing to eat food. I can choose to vape or not. I have to eat food. And if all my food is being blanketed with Roundup that's killing my gut microbiome, it's like I have no choice in that. That's when regulation comes in, I think, right? Like you have to if I have no choice in the matter, then the government needs to step in and stop bad things. Vaping, it's like you fully have a choice to do it or not.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Raising kids, all you got to make sure is the kids are healthy.
It's so hard for them to be healthy now. And even like it actually worries me so much. Like,
but then it's even more than that. You got to worry about that you have no control over to some degree. Wait, then you got to worry about like that series you just watched. Like, like I worry about your kids that's why I say drive carefully in 95, not to be a helicopter parent, but you worry.
It's terrifying.
Terrifying. Like we almost got an accident on the way home yesterday from the airport. This Jeep.
Yeah. And your life changes in a second.
My brother passed away years ago. You don't know, right?
And then it can, like it has effect so much
more.
more.
The trickle down effect is humongous.
That was the show that Dad's talking about that I just finishes The Night of, which came out a few years ago on HBO. But it's about this kid who's a good kid, good family, and he is just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and his life gets fucked up. And a main focus on the show is how, this thing happened to him, but now it's like his father's business is affected. His mother's friends don't want to talk to her because they're like, your kid is a killer. So it's like all these things that trickle down, and then it affects the next generation, the generation after that.
That's a problem.
And it's like, it's so scary. But also, like, all this food stuff is so scary too, because it's in our bodies, So like, we're eating all this stuff, we're being poisoned with all this stuff, and then it's like the mother of my children's body is poisoned already.
Right, and you don't know if she's eating healthy or not.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's like once whoever the wife or whoever the mother of my children is, like when she's pregnant with our children, like I'm going to be a fucking Nazi with what she puts in her body, because all of that's going to the kid. But some of it is already too late. That's the thing. Like today we were at today we were at CVS, and I was like, oh, I need new deodorant, and the deodorant I buy comes in a paper tube, and you're like, you're so funny. And I was like, look, because it says here no phthalates on it. And you're like, but it's too late. And I'm like, no, it's not. Because the phthalates that I put into my body right now go into my sperm.
I understand.
And then so it's like the same thing. There's already some things that like my future mother of my children's body, some of it is already
What about
too
if
late.
she puts on sun lotion and puts estrogen in, and now you have a boy? And now,
right. That's and then it's just like that shit is happening all the time, every day. And some of it is so inescapable. But like we're ruining our people. We all are ugly and unhealthy and fat.
It's intentional.
Some of it.
It's intentional.
I think a lot of it is just greed. I think like the sun lotion companies, they're not like, we want to poison people. They're just like, this chemical works as
cheaper. And if we
sun.
get lawsuits, we're making billions. We paid a couple $100 million still ahead of the game.
And they're like, it does work at blocking the sun. It's just also not good for you. But
if there's a lawsuit, we'll pay it.
Yeah. So I don't think it's like intentional about, we want to poison people. It just greed makes these people be like, I don't care about the benefits, or I don't care about the costs or whatever, It's
terrible.
It's terrifying.
It's terrible.
And there's no, like at this point, I mean, RFK was talking about it. He was on Tim Dillon last week with Cheryl for the first time. It was Cheryl's.
Now, they're still married?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so they were talking about it because Cheryl hasn't been public with him since he announced his running. But now she said that she's going to be like a big part of his campaign. Good. She's like getting behind him, fully supporting all that stuff, which I think is great. Yes. That'll only help him because she's likable. Yes. She's like, she's a good arm, like good to be on his arm. And I think it was a little bit of a taint on his campaign before, being like, what, your own wife isn't even supporting you? Where's your wife?
What was that all about? Where was she that whole time?
I think a lot of it, what she said was, she was just busy, like with her own life. She's has a job and she's on set and all this stuff. But then she said too that for the first part of it, she was like, I didn't think it was like going to be a big thing. So she was just like, I'm going to let him have his thing, and this is what he does. But then she's like, now I see like there's real momentum behind it. And so she's like, I want like, there's a movement here that I feel like I should be a part of. I'm like, that's
good.
Great.
And she should support him. He's just looking for something, trouble.
Yeah. But so they were on it talking together, and RFK was like, I think now what we have, like the only way to fix all the problems that we were talking about is like sweeping regulation on these businesses. And it's like, I hate government interference.
Yeah, he very much like that.
How are you going to stop Apple from making phones that radiate? You're not going to, unless the government says you 100% cannot.
People are going to just die earlier.
Yeah, but we can't have that.
And the illnesses, it's going to happen.
So you have to make it where you have
to.
But
medicine's progressing.
Is it?
Technology, isn't it? Well, isn't medicine?
Well, tell me how medicine's progressing.
What about
are people not dying all the time?
Stem cell.
Okay, but
that's helpful. They're able to cure cancer they were not able to cure.
They can make it so it's not a death sentence.
No, but
they're not curing cancer.
Okay, but people that had cancer that had double mastectomies and this and that, whatever, they're living now.
Yeah, but then other things people are dying more than they were decades ago.
But isn't the people's life expectancy greater now?
Not now than it was 10 years ago. 10 years ago to 100 years ago for sure, but not now.
What was 10 years ago to now?
I don't think they do like.
Okay.
I think it's probably every 10 years we do, but
Well, that's what I'm asking. 10 years.
look right there. See that? What's that?
Canada.
No. Where the blue?
Right.
What's that? A drop.
Dropping. Yep.
Yeah. A huge drop. Do you like, right? So that's 20. So let's see. 2010, our life expectancy in America was 78.
Still less, though, by 2 years from the other countries.
Yeah. Canada's at 81.6.
Yeah,
Ours is
there's no stress
78.7. Okay. So
we
that's
also work harder than those countries.
so 2010, it was 78. 2011, 2012, 2013,
All
2014,
78.
2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. Now it
A
goes down
year.
here. But that's a big. So it stayed constant so it's going up, right? Every single year in the 90s, it's going up. Up, 75, 76, 76.5,
Ever since,
77,
you know what the commonality is?
78. And now it goes down
You know
a
what it
full
is?
year within 1 year.
You know why?
What?
Ever since Biden got in office.
No, I mean, he got into office. Well, like, yeah, I guess 2020. But like that is so alarming. Even you can see there's a drop in the other two. Look, Canada is going up, 81, 81.8, 81.9.
You know what I think has to do with?
Now, Canada 82 in 2018. Canada this year 81.
Okay.
So it went down.
I think it has to do with our bad economy and stresses. Stresses cause a lot of illness. I think it's a big factor.
Maybe, but I don't think it'll be something so dry. Like, so when was the stock market crash in 2008? Will we see a drop in that? That was a more stressful time than now financially, right? Do you agree?
Yes, but there's
So,
we're in
like-
stressful times right now.
Right, but 2008 was a big growth. 2007, 2008 to 2009 was high life expectancy. So I'm just saying, like, I don't know if because this year the economy isn't great, I don't think that's the reason why life expectancy would drop by an entire year. It's not dropping by like a full year.
Because if I lose 79 or 80, it's no big difference 1 year.
Okay, it's not what this is an average. It's not saying you are living
I know, I'm saying
1 year
average,
less. Right, but an average is a big deal. Taking 1 point off an average could mean 10 years for some people and no years for others, right? Like that's how an average works.
It depends on the person. I understand that.
Yeah, but if an average is going up and up and up and up forever, it's never gone down. The only other time it went down is here, 1967 to 1968. I don't know why.
The year I was born.
Yeah. And then it's going up and up and up and up. And then look here. Look at this huge fall. This is fertility rates. Huge fall. Fertility rates in
What's the red?
Mexico. Fertility, let's look at America. Fertility rates in the 60s were 3.65 births per woman.
How can there be a 0.65?
It's because it's an average.
I know, bro. I'm just saying.
And then now 1.64. Drop by 2 births per woman on average.
People having less children.
Yeah.
It's economics. It's economics. That's got to be pure. That's got to be 100% related to economics.
Well, that's what we talked about. Remember, we've talked about how like people are having less children, and so the workforces are dying out. Like what's happened in Japan, it's not really happening here as much. What's happening in China? We talked about that.
I do remember
and that's
that.
what this is.
I think it's too
problem.
expensive for people. They're stressing, and also people have kids older later in life, and therefore they figure they might be tired.
That's a problem.
I agree with you.
If you're having if you're having 1.64 births
What
per
happened to
person,
0.36 of the birth?
What do you mean?
Good.
But like the problem is that's not replacing us. That's barely replacing us.
No, that's getting by, just having one.
Getting by, right?
Where we
but
have
then getting
3.
by, why would it's not going to. You need a drastic cultural change.
We need
to
people
make
to have
it so it
2
goes
to
up.
3, 2 to 4 kids. Everyone needs to have.
Exactly. Yeah. And we
But-
can handle
okay,
that in America.
wait,
Some countries
wait.
can't handle that.
But there's an expense when people are stressing over.
Yeah,
You see
yeah.
it.
No, people can't afford to have more than one kid.
They can't.
No.
They can't pay for school.
People can't
food,
even afford
college.
to have a kid.
Correct. They
Because
can't afford to
people-
buy anything.
Right. That's what I was just saying. People can't even afford to buy a home, let alone raise a kid in it.
There's a real problem there.
Yeah.
Huge fucking problem there.
And how do you how do you fix that shit?
I guess you have to go to places that are further away, but then you don't have the income.
No, you need to lower the cost of things. That's how you fix it.
Hard to do in a capitalistic world.
I mean, they're trying. They're trying, and it's not working.
The prices are so expensive. Things everywhere are expensive.
Yeah, and then they're giving all our money away to Ukraine.
And why are they doing that?
113 billion or something. 170 billion, I'm pretty sure.
In Amsterdam, I was asking about real estate. They said it's like 30,000 a square meter.
30,000 euros?
Yeah.
Wait, how is that possible?
So if you buy
That's the most expensive.
If you buy like 1,000, yeah, they were saying, what were they saying? Or $3,500 a square.
That sounds
no,
more
but you
like
want
it.
like if you wanted a floor of a little building, it was like $1.6 million,
Yeah.
$1.7 million.
Yeah, that makes sense. Europe is having this problem just like we are in America.
Nobody
too.
can afford to buy these places.
No. And the problem is the only people, so no one can afford to buy them. So either people aren't buying them and places are sitting vacant.
Who's buying them? No.
Or the Saudis or oil
Companies.
or BlackRock.
Companies are buying them.
Exactly.
No, but even fine.
BlackRock.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
BlackRock,
Blackstone.
Blackstone, State Street, Vanguard. These companies are buying up all
in
the
Europe,
land.
everywhere, in
Yep.
everything in Amsterdam, right in the water there, beautiful.
Yep. Yeah, and then that's gonna fuck us over even more
Because now they own you. It's a
once
monopoly.
they're all owned by someone else,
they're
it's like they're
done.
not. They have the capital to sit on them forever. So it's like if they're sitting them forever, and I want to buy a home. Sorry, no homes
you
to
have
buy.
to rent.
There's no homes
And
to
pay
buy.
their rent.
And I have to rent it from them.
From them.
And so they have a monopoly on it.
Yep.
So I can't.
Nope, you're
but
done.
That's where the government has to come in and be like, nope, can't do it. And they can do that. We were just reading about a case in property that it was
Matlock and Bronson.
what's that?
Matlock was a big one.
Matlock. But we were reading a case where in Hawaii in like the 80s or something, there were 3 companies that owned the entire island of Maui because they were like buying it all up from small little people. And so then the Hawaiian local government came in and was like, we can't have this. They were like a land oligarchy or something. They were like, we just can't have this. This isn't, they were like in the state of like in the essence and spirit of free market, this is not a free market anymore. And so they came in under eminent domain and took all that land away from them. And then put it up for sale at a reasonable market value to the people who lived there. And then the island equilibrated. Locals were able to buy homes again off the land that used to be owned by these companies. So like they've done it before.
America's not doing that.
No, there's no incentive for them to do it anymore.
Nope, never happened.
Because the only people that get elected now are people who are funded by
those,
BlackRock or whatever,
Blackstone.
Blackstone, State Street, Vanguard. Like it's a huge problem. It's terrifying.
I know. I wish I had so much disposable money that I would just buy places.
Yeah.
I can't.
No, I think.
Like I want to buy those. Everything's those 3 or 4 story brownstones in Amsterdam. Everything's beautiful. Every street. I want to buy a place there. You can't lose.
Yeah. Well,
if I bought in Porto in Portugal, there were so many cranes. You can't lose.
Yeah. So that's what I was gonna say. I think the like if you want to be able to like buy land, live a healthy lifestyle, all that stuff, you have to go somewhere else, and not Northern Europe because that's already too expensive. Even Central Europe, Southern Europe though.
Italy's what?
Southern.
I would do Italy.
There are places in Italy,
beautiful and good prices,
where you could buy land for reasonable value, and you can live a nice lifestyle.
But you
have to sacrifice American comforts.
No, but you're dealing with,
or even like you go to Mexico, Costa Rica. A lot of people are going to these countries.
Remember that house we saw for like $1.4 million on the cliffs
in Mexico?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But people are doing that. People are going to Mexico.
What would that be here? 10 million?
Yeah. Oh, more. Just the land would be like $3 million.
What about in Italy, where you could buy a beautiful place for $1 million? Beautiful fucking place.
Yeah.
In like wine country. But what do you do?
And you know what's great about that too? Like, let's say, like what we were talking about in the earlier part of this episode about like how all our medicine is tainted, all our food is tainted, all our everything, our water, all of it's chemicals, and it's bad for you. In those countries, that's not the case. It's not. If you live in a town in Italy and you go to the market in your town, it's coming from people who grew it themselves in the town. Like it's not coming from. They don't have corporatized farming in Italy or Spain or Mexico. They don't have it.
But you worry. But what do I have to buy a place there?
Or Costa Rica.
$1 million. You buy a place there and then what? Use it once a month?
I'm not saying for you, maybe because you have your life here. I'm saying for like people who are in their mid-20s who are like, I I don't want to live in this world because I can't afford anything. It's all unhealthy for me. I'm not happy because everyone's on antidepressants. Everyone's sedentary. So, you got to go to a different country and it'll solve it. Like there are these a lot of people are doing that. I see on Twitter and online, like a lot of young people are going
healthcare is much better here.
To like
education
Jamaica,
better here.
Costa Rica.
I don't know.
Brazil. Like people are going. Brazil's a huge one that people are going
Brazil's
to.
not safe.
Why? How do you know? You've been to Brazil?
You hear about it. It's not safe.
You hear about it from when? 10, 20 years ago?
No, even now you still got to be careful
When
of
have you heard?
kidnappings.
Not in Brazil.
Yes.
I mean, you have to be smart. But like, San Francisco's not safe. Chicago's not safe. New York's not safe.
But still, America, you have due process. You have.
What's wrong with you? What are you doing?
I'm getting my nose.
You look like you have autism.
No, I was going to sneeze.
Okay.
You ever have your nose itch?
Yeah.
I didn't want to sneeze. I was trying to stop it. I think America still has the best healthcare, best education.
Well, we don't have the best healthcare.
Best legal system, due process.
We have the best education? To who? Like compared to who?
Our colleges, our universities aren't great.
Oh, that's different, but that's not our education.
But I'm talking about from our standpoint.
Yeah, but
what
you said America's education, so that means the public school system. You think the public school system in America is educating well?
No, but I'm talking about
No, but like, do you?
I don't know about the other countries.
Yeah, but then Howard, can you say we have still have the
best
best
school
school
system? I can say anything I want. I mean, I'm talking about our higher education is better.
Oh, sure, higher education, but like that's not important. Higher education isn't important to a society. Kindergarten through 12th grade, that's how you get the future, and ours is fucked. I don't think you can find a single person in America, left, right, rich, poor, whatever, that would be like, yeah, our children are being really well educated by the state.
Like I still rather live in America. Just telling you.
No, fine. Me too. I live here. But you said our education system is better. And
all right, so are you gonna fucking shoot me down?
No,
I'm talking about our education's better.
Okay, sure, that's different.
And
way less important.
And me sending you guys to private school, better education here than if I send a private school in
why? How do you know?
Italy.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
That's what I think.
Okay, but also private school system. The private school that you sent me to isn't American education. It's not. It's a privatized individual type of education.
But that's what I did for my children.
Exactly. So our education system is so bad that you had to spend so much money to try to get us into a different thing.
And it's a choice I made.
I know, but that's not a good thing. You should be able to be like,
right. When I grew up, our public schools were great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not anymore.
I agree.
Like anyone who's, especially now, like the kids, right? Like 5 to 10-year-olds, they're not learning shit in public school.
There was just where did I hear this? What school said they're doing away with math and reading and writing so the African American kids don't feel. That was just a recent thing. I was one of the schools. It was in Oregon. Look it up.
That's a thing.
Yeah, in Oregon,
math is racist.
Yes,
because because the black kids aren't scoring as well on the math.
So they got it rather than making them tutor and get better and learn.
They're just eliminating math.
They eliminate altogether. Could you imagine?
Right.
And math is huge for engineering. Math is for finance. Math is a huge thing.
There are certain subsects of business that are entirely math related.
I want to tell you, the people that are very good at math, they're very successful people. They are. They're all the fucking hedge fund guys. Yeah. They're all the guys that go on. Their brain works a very different way. The Blooms did not get that.
No, not at all.
No, we got gift of gab, but we did not get the brain.
We have a lot of other things, but not the math. No, not numbers.
I'm like, is that a 2? No, good. All right.
That's a huge problem.
Yeah,
but then how are you saying, oh yeah, our education system is still the best? Not at all.
I explained to you.
No, I know. I just wanted to make that point.
I still rather be in America than another country.
And I agree.
That's all.
But will that be the case in 15 more years?
I don't know. I'll be 70 years old. I don't know.
But like, would you, if you were given a choice between America right now and America of 20 years ago to live in, you would choose 20 years ago.
100%.
And so that means we're on a trajectory.
We get Trump back, it'll be fine.
But I don't want to live in America 5 years ago even.
No,
when
terrible.
Trump was in office.
I agree. The world's shit. Yeah. I agree.
It's the companies. That's the problem. It's because
we let
everything is corporatized.
And we let too many fucking people in illegally, like what we did with the fucking borders.
It's a whole other
correct. And we got to do a follow
other
advice. We're already going over
conversation.
time. And I'm losing my I'm getting congested.
Yeah, because you live in a bad healthcare system in America.
Because I was on a
I
fucking
know.
trip with thousands of people.
It's called a joke.
Oh, let me know. Let
This
me
is
know
from
when
K-Thon.
let me know when I should laugh.
K-Thin? Or
Is it-
K-Thon?
Are they transitioning?
K-A-Y-T-H-O-N. K-Thin.
T-O-N?
T-H-O-N. K-Thin.
Well, okay. First thing is why they named me that. Go ahead.
Hey, Jon and Bron. Sorry, John, I haven't taken your advice on changing my name. You must have written it before.
Oh, so I still
That's
sense it. At least,
funny.
at least I'm consistent.
That's funny.
Wait, you got to respect that, right? I'm consistent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's what you got to do.
Sorry, K-Thin, that we don't remember your past one, but here it says, hey, Jon and Bron, sorry I haven't taken your advice on changing my name.
That's funny,
However,
bro.
I have
That's funny.
taken your advice on life and dating. I've taken a break from the dating scene for about 2 years since I last submitted a file of advice. Wow, so it was 2 years ago.
Good for him or her.
And thanks for writing back, which has been really great. So thank you. Now to my question. I'm currently in the process of purchasing a business. From listening to the show since the first episode, I know that Jon has well over 100 years been running his own business. Haha, all jokes aside, I'm just wondering if Jon has any tips on running a business, given that this is my first rodeo. It's a different one. Usually we have a relationship one, so this is a business.
I'm 23. I want to move. My boyfriend doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So that's a very good thing. Very good question.
Kind of its own full topic.
Right. Now, a couple things. I'd be curious to know what kind of business. I wish you gave me a little more detail, Keithon.
Well, I think K-Thin is a Patreon member. So K-Thin, I think if you are a Patreon member, because I recognize your name, then message me and we can
call you.
We can also just talk about it more on the Patreon episode.
Right. But here's the thing. I think running your own business is great. You're your own boss. There's pros and cons to it. The negative is you deal with the liability, you deal with the downturn, you deal with the stresses, you deal with paying the bills, you deal with your problems with the issues with employees. Those are things you have to deal with clients. But on the same token, some of these are positives. You are your own boss. Your sky's the limit of what you can make. You don't answer to anybody else. You create your own environment. You are responsible for your future and your and how that plan pans out. I think it's great running your own business. Personally, I don't like working for anybody. That's just me. I think it's a personality thing. But there's nothing wrong with working for somebody. I have so many successful clients that run their own business and they own their own business, and I have so many successful clients that work for major companies and do very, very, very well financially and grow within the company, and they have a board to answer to and things like that. So there's no right or wrong answer. It depends on the personality. But to me, I think running your own business is...
But that doesn't... They've already decided that is their personality. So now...
I thought I answered the question. What was the
No,
question?
because you were saying you were just talking about how it's good to run your own business, but you have to decide that you want to do that. But he already decided. So the question is tips to run a successful business.
If I knew the business, I'd be able to advise them a
But
little
just
more.
general tips, maybe like...
Tips are if you think you're going to work 40 hours a week, that's not going to work. You literally
Right, that's a tip.
it becomes another child of yours. Okay, so you live, breathe, and eat your business. That's just the way it is.
You've always said, like, a tip that I could take from what you've always said to me is like, when it's your own business, the success is completely dependent upon you. So
It's
if you
limitless.
and it's like exponential to what you put in. So if you put in an insane amount of work, you can likely make it successful. But if you don't put in a lot of work, it's not going to
Right. If you want to be passive,
successful.
like if you want to be a glorified employee that just owns your own business, it's not going to be successful. You need to put the effort in, put the time in, and the dedication. Another tip is you're going to have ups and downs in business. There's just no way around it. And it does get discouraging. There's no question. But you have to persevere through those tough times, because everybody goes through those tough times in business. And you have to give it at least 2 to 3 years before you decide whether or not it's going to work or not. You can't.
Yeah.
If it was that easy, everybody would make money the first year or two.
Even with this podcast, I remember when we first started, remember I told you, I said, if we're starting this, we cannot say we don't want to do it until a full year, because you can't. It's like with
now we say we
media-
don't want to do it and we can't because I'm teasing.
Yeah. But like I've like, you can't know if something is good or not until at least a year of time put into it.
Yeah, more than a year when it comes to business.
For a business, for sure.
I think you have to.
Yeah.
And you have to be realistic. And another thing is keep your overhead low. There's no ego in business. I don't care how many employees you think you want more employees. Whatever. Keep your overhead low and try to minimize your debt. That's the most important. No line of credits.
So lean and mean.
Lean and mean. It's huge. I'm telling you right now, because I have friends that have 90 employees. They don't make what I make. I have much less employees than that. There's things at the beginning you're going to have to do on your own. It's not beneath you. You're going to be a jack of all trades at the beginning. You're going to handle everything until you can afford to hire people. But lean and mean, I'm telling you right now, like I told my kids, who's wealthier? The guy who leases the Mercedes or the guy who owns the Volkswagen Jetta? The guy who owns the Volkswagen Jetta because he has some equity and capital. So lean and mean and persevere and work hard. And if you have any questions in the future and you want to talk more about the details of what your company is, I probably give you a lot more advice. At that
Just
point.
message us on Patreon because I'm pretty sure you remember. And if you're not, just join. You've listened since the first episode, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he is.
All right.
Because I recognize the name, and because I don't see last names on here, but there's a Kathan that messages me.
Probably,
pretty
how
often.
many parents would name their kid Kathan?
Yeah.
So, are you working on a name change business? No, I'm teasing you. All right, everybody, we appreciate you guys. Bronny, I love you. Good to
you
be
too.
back.
You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me. The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid.